Hi there. In this lecture we see Magnus Carlsen playing against Hikaru Nakamura. This is in the 2011 Tatar Steel Group A tournament round 8. We see some very interesting preventative moves in this game, very instructive from that point of view, from trying to turn tactical chaos that the opponent might be trying to set into kind of still water, kind of neutralizing tactical chaos. So let's see, e4 for Magnus, and we have c5. Sicilian defense, knight f3, d6. We go into the Najdorf variation. We have bishop e2, e5, and now knight b3, bishop e7. Now bishop e3. So this is quite a tricky move. It's got something special in mind here off the black castles. Can you see what that is? For 10 points. Yeah, it's actually g4. We have bishop e6, which seems super logical for d5, but we get in g5 now. h4, we have knight b6. And here we shouldn't push our luck against this d5 break. Well, we should be extremely cautious rather. Queen d2 is played. If f4, e takes, bishop takes f4, d5 here, there's only one move for an advantage for white, which is queen d3. All the other moves seem to just giving black a great game. If we played e takes, knight takes, black's completely equalized. It's logical to counter a flank attack with a central attack, central counter attack. But queen d3, in fact, d takes, we could exchange off queens, and we do have an edge here after knight c5. This position, we have an advantage in a different form. But we have, that will be less exciting than the game by far, that queen d2 is played. So we have knight 8 to d7. If d5 is here, we can play bishop takes and then e takes d5. So that's not really possible here. Okay, so we have knight bd7. Another option, a5, f4, a4. We can play f5 and we have a small edge in that variation. So knight 8 to d7, f4 now. If white castles instead, a5, king b1, we're still doing okay. It's still good for white. So f4, we have e takes, bishop takes f4, knight e5, white castles queenside, rook c8, king b1. So this is trying to neutralize some of the dangers already with king b1. Queen c7, h5. We're trying to get a g6 thematic pawn break to open up the lines. Tactics will spring after that. If we open up the h file, for example, with a pawn on g6, there's amazing mating tactics which we could generate. We have rook fe8, and now this is a star move of the game. I would say this is one of Magnus Carlsen's trademark prophylactic moves. And when you see a move like this, you kind of know that the opponent's in big trouble. It's like the opponent's been trying to create some potential dangers for Magnus, but they're kind of being neutralized. Can you see what it is for 200 points? What does white play here? What's a great neutralizing move? It comes from logic. If we start to see some variations of what we might want to do, we get to see a problem. Okay, the preventive move is king a1. So how is this actually arrived at? It's like what we need to eliminate. If we played knight d4, black could play knight b to c4, which gives options for the queen, including pinning the b pawn. If we look at queen e1, queen b6, pinning that b pawn now means knight a3 is dangerous. If we played, for example, here, bishop c1, then knight a3 check, and it's only our knight stopping knight takes c2 check. Black has this nasty tactic here, two nasty tactics. One of them is actually even stronger than the other. What's the strongest move for black in this position? The very strongest move for black is actually knight c6. Just trying to distract quite comfortably the knight on d4 without any problem. If knight takes c2 check and winning our queen. But otherwise, yeah, it's a complete disaster here. we're going to lose the knight on d4. And it's coming in with knight takes c2 again. Black also has queen takes d4, which is good as well for black. Knight takes c2 check, knight takes e1. So it's this process of looking at these variations, seeing what's horrific about them, and trying to kind of rule them out in advance. So prophylactic moves, preventative moves, or prophylactic as you might prefer to call them, or preventative. To non-chess players, preventative. So they don't think of talking about something else. Preventative moves, they arise from looking at different horror stories that could arise and trying to take out the worst elements. So the horror story of the pin of b2 is taken out with king a1. It's really a strong move. We see now bishop f8 and now knight d4. So this is working so much better. We have queen c5, which is, okay, black's in a difficult position. If g6, we can take on g6, h takes, and in fact, we do have a forcing move sequence here, which is incredibly powerful based on bad kind of geometry of rooks that might be skewered on this diagonal. And you might think, this is out of the question. How can rooks be skewered on this diagonal? We'd start off with bishop takes e5, then knight takes e6, and lo and behold, we've got rooks that are skewerable after rook takes e6. Black wouldn't want to play f takes e6, because bishop g4 is very powerful for white, with queen h2 coming up soon. But yeah, if black plays rook takes bishop g4, we've skewered the rooks. This position, we play queen h2, and we're still on the c8 rook, so we end up either checkmating on h7 here or h8, or black has to give up the exchange basically with bishop g7. So anyway, queen c5 played. We have now g6. I remember a game I played against Murugan about 24-20 FIDE in one of the Lloyd's Bank Masters. I was really happy to get g6. It really is a great line opener to open up for the rooks, full blast against the king. We have knight e to c4. If f takes g6, h takes. Let's consider here h takes. We can play knight takes e6. And this is just a great position. We can consider bishop takes f4 again and bishop g4 and queen h2 after. It's a great position. If knight takes g6, again, these considerations of bishop g4 skewing the rooks come in. So knight e to c4 is played. So bishop takes, knight takes. Now queen d3. It's important also to prevent horrors with c3. The queen's hanging around c3. So that in the case here of knight takes b2, this is not possible. King takes. Queen b4 check. We don't move our king away from the knight. We play knight b3 here. So king and queen are holding. And then we've even, if d5, we can play bishop e5. We're still holding c3 very firmly. So there's nothing really going on for black there. So f takes is played. We have h takes, and now kind of fawny pawn is left. Pawn on g6, fawn pawn, thorn, fawn pawn kind of pawn. It's very difficult for black. Let's go with that. So here, queen g3, still holding c3 in the case of knight takes b2. We have queen b6, so an immediate mate threat on b2. Bishop c1, queen a5. Now, black is threatening knight takes b2, which hits the rook. Okay, and which then would follow rook takes and then queen takes a2 mate. That's the general idea. We have rook d to f1, which is another kind of key preventative move, taking out the horror stories. If there was a word for taking out the horror stories, understand the need for preventative chess, because preventative chess for its own sake could be a waste of time. You could be doing other things. There's a cost benefit. We've got to find out what the horror stories are, take out the most horrific elements of the horror stories. And rook df1 is a horror for black now, rook df1. If here, what does black play? If we had played rook h2, just to show a horror story here, knight takes b2, bishop takes, rook takes c3, and on a2, so knight takes, and also on the queen. So that's not helpful. And knight takes e6 is also not sufficient here, because the knight's on d1. The fact that, the rook's on d1, so the knight could just take on d1 and then take on e6, and black's got a big advantage here. Okay, so black's just won the exchange basically. So this is much more powerful. Rook d to f1. We have knight e5. So let's see that prevention in action. Knight takes b2 here. We have knight takes e6. There's nothing to take on d1. If rook takes c3, in fact here we have queen f2, and all of a sudden black's king is getting mated. So rook takes, queen takes f8 is checkmate. It's the horror is for black here. So the king's getting mated after queen f2. So bad things happen there. So knight e5 played. We have knight d5, and black has, the options of black are being extinguished here. We have, though, it's like it is a pawn sacrifice now. It represents a pawn sacrifice, stopping this attack on a2. So bishop takes e takes. So the attacking piece is actually gone. So although we're a pawn down, speed is of the essence of the attack. And in fact, there's a key move. There have been like these key moves with knight f5 and another one available. What do you think Magnus plays in this position for 10 points? So this is really shredding the opponent's king, actually. Bishop takes h6. It doesn't even matter about queen takes d4 here. We have g takes. If queen takes d4, we gain a key tempo on the queen. This is real magical stuff. Gaining this key tempo, and without, with the h file, we've got access to h8 here. So guess what white would play here? Fischer's expression, tactics flow from superior positions, comes into mind. What would you play here? Yeah, rook h8 check, and then queen h3 check, and then we're mating. So it's not really possible to play queen takes d4. If queen e4, this is a bit trickier, trying to eliminate g6. We could play bishop c1, queen takes g6. We could play queen h3. So we're threatening queen h8, checkmate. There is a knight f7 resource, but we're still miles better after rook fg1. This is just, there's too many opportunities for attack here. Black's going downhill. We've got things like knight f5 coming. It's crushing. So anyway, g takes h6. We have now g7. So it doesn't matter that we're a bishop down. We're opening up the opponent's king. We have bishop e7. If bishop takes g7, then knight f5 is very powerful. Say rook c7, knight takes h6 check, king h7, knight f7 check, king g8. Rook h8 is actually checkmate. Black can have the extra bishop. It's just pinned here. It's useless. It's checkmate. So that's one very interesting line. Of course, black could take on h1. It doesn't really help black's cause. We're still winning here. After the check, knight f5 check, rook g1. We've still got a very big advantage. We're going to snap off g7 shortly. Okay, so anyway, bishop e7 tried. Now rook takes h6, knight f7, and this is absolutely magnificent. It seems as though, well, black's still going to be material up. We play queen g6. Okay, so we've got this mate threat. That's seemingly extinguished. But there's one key trick here about this position now in relation to what seems to be, potentially saving a resource, bishop f6. If white's not careful, the back row is vulnerable to rook e1s. So there's a very powerful trick played in this position. What do you think it is? What does white play here for 100 points? It's queen h8 check. The king goes to f7. Then we have this g8 check. So we've just opened up to f6. So after king e8, rook e1 check, this is the end of the game because king d7, queen e7 is checkmate. Yeah, this is really quite amazing how Magnus Carlsen, even playing against tactical wizards, is able to take the most dangerous elements out of the equation in advance. So there's a kind of amazing prophylaxis move, King A1 in this game, but other moves are also kind of preventative prophylaxis, taking the horror out of the horror stories that are revealed when you try to work out the variations. So it's such a clever concept, King A1. I would say that's the iconic move of the game, a quiet killer move before the storm. So the storm is against the Black King, not against our King. We've turned the opponent's kind of firestorm into still water here. Okay, great stuff. Thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed this free sample lecture. It's from one of my courses. You can check out my courses at Kingscrusher.tv. So you'll get these coupon codes which will give you great discounts. I have over 50 courses now, been working on them for the last few years. All sorts of chess topics, chess skill topics like tactics, calculation, visualization, and you can see my previous bestsellers highlighted. So I do hope you check out this Kingscrusher TV page. It does help support the channel and encourage me to share with you more free samples. So comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. And if you really, if you want to know the specific course the lecture was about, please do leave a comment in the video, and that will prompt me for a pinned comment, etc., just to clarify for this particular video which course it was from. Okay, thanks very much.